What if I told you, one of the greatest civilizations on Earth didn't fall in a single moment, but slowly faded, piece by piece, until it became a shadow of itself? Ancient Egypt wasn't just pyramids and mummies, it was a superpower that lasted over 3,000 years. Kings were treated as gods, monuments touched the sky, and their influence shaped the ancient world. So, how does something that powerful just disappear? Today, we're going deep into the rise, the breaking point, and the quiet collapse of ancient Egypt. Part 1. The glory of ancient Egypt. Picture this. A narrow ribbon of green slicing through an endless desert, the Nile River. Every year, it floods, leaving behind rich soil. That soil, it turns Egypt into a paradise in the middle of nowhere. And from that miracle, a civilization is born. Ancient Egypt wasn't built overnight. It started small scattered farming communities along the Nile. But around 3100 BC, something big happened. Upper and Lower Egypt were united under one ruler. That's when the age of the pharaohs began. These weren't just kings, they were believed to be living gods. Imagine waking up every day believing your ruler controlled the sun, the floods, and even your afterlife. That belief system? It created one of the most stable societies in history, and stability leads to greatness. They built the pyramids, massive stone structures that still confuse engineers today. The Great Pyramid alone stood as the tallest man-made structure on Earth for over 3,800 years. They developed writing, hieroglyphics, carving their stories into walls so their legacy would never die. They mastered medicine, astronomy, and engineering long before most of the world even organized into cities. Egypt became rich, powerful, untouchable. Pharaohs like Ramses II expanded its borders. Trade routes brought gold, incense, and exotic goods. Temples rose, cities flourished, and the people believed their kingdom would last forever. But here's the thing about forever. It never does. Part 2. The cracks in the empire. Fall of ancient Egypt didn't happen with one dramatic explosion. It started quietly. First, internal problems. After centuries of strong rulers, Egypt began to get weak leadership. Pharaohs weren't as powerful anymore. Some were young, inexperienced, or simply couldn't hold the kingdom together. And when leadership weakens, everything else starts to shake. Then came division. The once unified kingdom started breaking apart. Different regions began fighting for control. Civil wars erupted. Power struggles drained the empire from within. But that wasn't the worst part. The outside world was changing. New powers were rising faster, more aggressive, more advanced in warfare. The Hyksos invaded first, bringing new weapons, like horse-drawn chariots. Egypt eventually pushed them out, but it left a scar. Then came bigger threats. The Assyrians attacked. Then the Persians. Each invasion chipped away at Egypt's strength. And then came the final turning point. Alexander the Great. When he marched into Egypt in 332 BCE, there wasn't even much resistance. That's how weakened Egypt had become. After his death, one of his generals took over, starting the Greek Ptolemaic dynasty. Egypt was no longer truly Egyptian. And then came the last chapter. A queen. You've definitely heard of Cleopatra. She tried to restore Egypt's power, forming alliances with Rome. But when she lost, Egypt lost everything. In 30 BC, after her defeat, Egypt officially became part of the Roman Empire. Just like that, the last breath of ancient Egypt faded away. Part 3. What remained of Egypt? So what happens when a civilization that lasted thousands of years disappears? It doesn't vanish overnight. Egypt didn't physically disappear, but its identity did. Under Roman rule, the pharaohs were gone. The old gods were replaced. The ancient traditions slowly faded. Hieroglyphics forgotten. Temples abandoned. The knowledge that once defined a civilization lost to time. For centuries, Egypt became just another province in someone else's empire. And then something even more powerful happened. It became a mystery. People looked at the pyramids and asked, how did they do this? Who were these people? What happened to them? Ancient Egypt transformed from a living empire into a legend. And today, it still captivates us. Because its fall wasn't just about war or invasion. It was about something deeper. And no matter how powerful a civilization becomes, no matter how advanced, no matter how eternal it feels, nothing escapes time. So the next time you see a pyramid, just remember you're not looking at ruins. You're looking at the remains of a world that once believed it would never end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around because history has way more secrets waiting to be uncovered.